Good morning. Good morning. Oh. Morning. Hey, morning. I'm fixing my. Oh, it's embarrassing, but yeah, who cares? Okay, much better now. Not so big. Good morning, Ando. Good morning, Chloe. Good morning, everyone. This is my new place. I made a room inside the FC house and turned it into a Noodible room. So I kind of have like two venues right now. One is the room and one is the basement. We might turn the basement into something else, but I'm not 100% sure what we will do to it yet. But yeah. How are you, Ando? Uh, yeah, I was so tired. Not even kidding. I cannot go out 2 days in a row like that. It's hell. I was so tired on Sunday and Monday. It's just like, you know, oh my god. But yeah, I had so much fun on Saturday. It's like one of the best time I ever had in years, I would say. Seriously, years. So, yeah, it's really fun. I really love it. I had so much fun. I saw your inn is open. Maybe I'll go over there in AFK for a bit, take some G pose after this. Yeah, if you're still open, that is. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so tired, but I'm feeling better right now. Like hibernation does help a lot. Yeah. I don't know about this arrangement, but I kind of like it. People are still welcome to sit on the carpet if they want to. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, as wherever they are comfortable. I thought about putting like zabutons, like the cushions on them, but I don't. I really want to see the carbuncles because they are like one of the main theme of my of this room, basically. It's basically a summoner's room because I'm a summoner main. How are you doing, Ando? I've been busy. Dian's taking a break from the game, playing Animal Crossing instead, which is good. It's always good to take a break from the game. I haven't logged in for. I mean, I'm always logged in, but I haven't really played a lot last week. Like, yeah, I didn't even clear Savage last week. Can you imagine it? Yeah, exactly. Just I mean, I still sleep the same amount of sleep. It's just the fact that I was out, like I was driving out the whole day, and then I went from one place to another, dropping off here and there. I bought flowers. I bought a new succulent plant that I call Muffin because the container that contains that I bought to move it over is looks like a muffin basically, so it's really cute. Stuck at what? Aw, you don't have to really. It's no obligations. But thank you to you. But thank you to your support. I really wish that they would let us like hang something on these walls. I don't know, like because it's so bare. It would be nice if you can like put like for like posters of like photos on them. You know what I mean? It's so bare. Hello, Chloe. Are you free? Are you on leave today, Chloe? Are you going out to have fun? Are you gonna bring, you know, bring him to eat something good today? Oh my god, I really miss the prawn noodles in Singapore. I really should make a trip to Singapore one of these days. So, yeah, I think I should make a trip to Singapore one of these days. Oh, oh, ah! I don't even need to off click something. I know it's Spooty. It has to be Spooty. There you go, Spooty Patootie. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. Aw, thank you so much. You can come and sit over here at the carbuncle seats. They are very comfortable. I mean, I think you would fit the yellow carbuncle, topaz carbuncle seat very well. It's so cute. I think you will look so cute on it. Or that one, whichever you like. Oh my god, yes. I don't know, you choose, you choose. I think you'll look really good on them. Oh my god, look at it! I have to take a picture of this. This is too cute. Look at him. Oh my god, with the sunlight and all. Oh god. Oh, why am I standing? Okay. Wait, hang on. I need to take a picture. That's so fucking cute. I'm not even kidding. Someone just came in. Hang on. Who is it? Eh? Scary. I heard the. Oh, okay, okay. It's because of the repeated. Oh my god. This is so cute. Aww. I don't really do lighting that much because I usually like natural lighting, but sometimes it helps a bit. I think this angle is onto the. Okay, this angle. It's pretty good. I'm like wasting time and not reading. but Spooty is so cute. Yeah, it looks like a baby chair, does it? Oh my god, it's so cute. They look perfect on it. How are you, Spooty? Are you doing alright? Are you why are you still here in this server and not moved to the OCE one? I know Spooty from a free company that some of my ex friends were at. It's a bit sad. But yeah, and Spooty is always there. Spooty was the guard. Having a breakfast? That's good. Well then, let's not dwell in the past. And yeah, definitely. I'm on SEA as well, and then I check the ping on OCE. To be completely honest, I made an out there and all that, and I don't feel much difference to be honest. But it's definitely better here in JP server for me. Right. Less chatting, more reading. Give me a moment and I'll be right back and we shall start reading. Today we are reading A Pale View of Hills by Kazuo Ishiguro, Part 2, Chapter 9. Shigeo Matsuda tied the buckle of his briefcase and then, glancing about him with a distracted air, came walking over to our side of the road. For a brief moment, he glanced our way, but, not recognizing us, went walking on. Ogata-san watched him go by. Then, when the young man had gone several yards down the road, he called out, "Ah! Shigeo!" Shigeo Matsuda stopped and turned. Then he came towards us with a puzzled look. "How are you, Shigeo?" The young man peered through his spectacles and burst into cheerful laughter. "Why, Ogata-san? Now, this is an unexpected surprise!" He bowed and held out his hand. "What a splendid surprise! Why, Etsuko-san, how are you? How nice to meet again." We exchanged bows. Then he shook his hand with us both. Then said to Ogata-san, "Were you by any chance about to visit me?" "This is bad luck. My lunch break's almost over now." He glanced at his watch. "But we could go back inside for a few minutes." "No, no," said Ogata-san hurriedly. "Don't let us interrupt your work. It just so happened we were passing this way, and I remembered you lived here, so I'm pointing out your house to Etsuko. Please, I can spare a few minutes. Let me offer you some tea at least. It's sweltering day out here." "No, no, you must get back to work." For a moment, the two men stood looking at each other. "And how is everything, Shigeo?" Ogata-san asked. "How are things at school?" "Oh, much the same ever. You know how it is. And you, Ogata-san, you're enjoying retirement, I hope? I had no idea you were in Nagasaki. Jiro and I seem to have lost touch these days." Then he turned to me and said, I'm always meaning to write, but I'm so forgetful." I smiled and made some polite comment. Then the two men looked at each other again. "You're looking splendidly well, Ogata-san," Shigeo Matsuda said. "Do you find Fukuoka to your liking?" "Yes, it's a fine city. My hometown, you know." "Really?" There was another pause. Then Ogata-san said, "Please, don't let us keep you. If you have to hurry away, I quite understand." Nada! Hey! Thank you for being here. Do you enjoy my new place? I hope you like my new place. Take a seat. Oh my god! Oh, this is perfect. Shit, I'm sorry to interrupt the reading, but this is too cute. I can't. Well, I'm sorry, but this is too cute. I love it. Aw. Hey, King Komodo! I haven't seen you for a bit. I mean, I haven't streamed for a bit, so I can't blame you for that. Yeah, I've been busy with like socializing and shit, like actually socializing. So I know me going out, huh? Crazy. This is so cute. I love the two of them. Look at them. Yeah, you've been a while for a while. Yeah? Oh, oh, somebody has a tea drinking emote. Socializing. Oh, I can't do that. Like, let's say 8 years ago, I can't do that. But let us talk about that later. Remind me later after we finish the book, okay? Let us finish the book first, alright? We are near the end of it. There was another pause. Then Okada-san said, "Please, don't let us keep you. If you have to hurry away, I quite understand." "No, no, I have a few minutes yet. A pity you weren't passing a little earlier. Perhaps you'd care to call in before you leave Nagasaki." "Yes, I'll try to. But there's so many people to visit." "Yes, I understand how it is." "And your mother, is she well?" "Yes, she's fine, thank you." For a moment, they fell silent again. "I'm glad everything's going well," Ogata-san said, eventually. "Yes, we were just passing this way and I was telling Etsuko-san you lived here. In fact, I was just remembering how you used to come and play with Jiro when you were both little boys." Shigeo Matsuda laughed. "Time really flies by, doesn't it?" he said. "Yes, I was just saying as much to Etsuko. In fact, I was just about to tell her about a curious little thing. I happened to remember it when I saw your house. A curious little thing." "Oh, yes?" "Yes, I just happened to remember it when I saw your house. That's all." You see, I was reading something the other day, an article in a journal, the New Education Digest, I think it was called. The young man said nothing for a moment. Then he adjusted his position on the pavement and put down his briefcase. "I see," he said. "I was rather surprised to read it. In fact, I was quite astonished." "Yes, I suppose you would be. It was quite extraordinary, Shigeo. Quite extraordinary." Shigeo Matsuda took a deep breath and looked down at the ground. He nodded but said nothing. "I had meant to come and speak to you for some days now," Okada-san continued. "But of course, the matter slipped my mind. Shigeo, tell me honestly, do you really believe a word of what you wrote? Explain to me what made you wrote such things. Explain to me, Shigeo. Then I can go home to Fukuoka with my mind at rest. At the moment, I am very puzzled." Shigeo Matsuda was prodding a pebble with the end of his shoes. Finally, he sighed, looked up at Ogata-san, and adjusted his spectacles. "Many things have changed over the last few years," he said. "Well, of course they have. I can see that much. What kind of answer is that, Shigeo?" "Ogata-san, let me explain." He paused and looked down at the ground again. For a second or two, he would scratch his ear. You see, you must understand, many things have changed now, and things are still changing. We live in a different age from those days when you were an influential figure. But Shigeo, what has this to do with anything? Things may change, but why write such an article? Have I ever done something to offend you? No, never. At least not to me personally. I should think not. Do you remember the day I introduced you to the principal at your school? That wasn't so long ago, was it? Or was that perhaps a different era too? Ogata-san, Shigeo had raised his voice, and an air of authority seemed to enter his manner. Ogata-san, I only wish you had called in an hour earlier. Then perhaps I would have been able to explain at greater length. There isn't time to talk the whole thing over right now, but let me just say this much. Yes, I believe everything I wrote in that article. In your days, children in Japan were taught terrible things. They were taught lies of the most damaging kind. Worst of all, they were taught not to see, not to question. And that is why the country was plunged into the most evil disaster in her entire history. We may have lost the war, Ogata-san interrupted, but that's no reason to ape the ways of the enemy. We lost the war because we didn't have enough guns and tanks, not because our people were cowardly, not because our society was shallow. You have no idea, Shigeo, how hard we worked. Men like myself, men like Dr. Endo, whom you also insulted in your article. We cared deeply for the country and worked hard to ensure the correct values were preserved and handed on. I don't doubt these things. I don't doubt you were sincere and hardworking, and I've never doubted that for one moment. But it just so happened that your energies were spent in the most misguided direction, an evil direction. You weren't to know this, but I am afraid it is true. It's all behind us now, and we can only be thankful. This is extraordinary, Shigeo. Can you really believe this? Who taught you to say such things? Ogata-san, be honest with yourself. In your heart of hearts, you must know yourself what I am saying is true. And to be fair, you shouldn't be blamed for not realizing the true consequences of your actions. Very few men could see where it was all leading at that time, and those men were put in prison for saying what they taught. But they are free now, and they'll lead us to new dawn. A new dawn? What nonsense is this? Now, I must be on my way. I am sorry we couldn't discuss this any longer. What is this, Shigeo? How can you say these things? You obviously have no idea the effort and devotion men like Dr. Endo gave to their work. You were just a small boy then. How could you know how things were? How can you know what we gave and what we achieved? As a matter of fact, I do happen to be familiar with certain aspects of your career. For instance, the sacking and imprisoning of 5 teachers in Nishizaka, April of 1938, if I am not mistaken. But those men are free now, and they will help us reach a new dawn. Now please excuse me. He picked up his briefcase and bowed to us in turn. My regards to Jiro, he added, then turned and walked away. Ogata-san watched the young man disappear down the hill. He continued to stand there for several moments, not speaking. Then, when he turned to me, there was a smile around his eyes. How confident young men are, he said. I suppose I was much the same once. very sure of my opinions. Father, I said, perhaps we should go and see Mrs. Fujiwara now. It's time we ate lunch. Why, of course, Etsuko. This is very inconsiderate of me, making you stand about in this heat. Yes, let's go and see the good lady. I'll be very pleased to see her again. We made our way down the hill, then crossed a wooden bridge over the narrow river. Below us, children were playing along the river bank, some with fishing poles. Once I said to Ogata-san, "What nonsense he was speaking." "Who? You mean Shigeo?" "What vile nonsense. I don't think you should pay the slightest attention, father." Ogata-san laughed, but made no reply. It's Endo. Yeah, it's Endo. If I pronounce it Ando, then I must be thinking about you. But my pronunciation is always fucked up anyway. Let us continue. As always, at that hour, the shopping area of the district was busy with people. On entering the shaded forecourt of the noodle shop, I was pleased to see several of the tables occupied with customers. Mrs. Fujiwara saw us and came across the forecourt. "Why, Ogata-san!" she exclaimed, recognizing him immediately. "How splendid to see you again! It's been a long time, hasn't it?" "A long time indeed." Ogata-san returned the bow Mrs. Fujiwara gave him. "Yes, a long time." I was struck by the warmth with which they greeted each other, for as far as I knew, Ogata-san and Mrs. Fujiwara had never known one another well. The exchange seemed an endless succession of bows before Mrs. Fujiwara went to fetch us something to eat. She returned presently with two steaming bowls, apologizing that she has nothing better for us. Ogata-san bowed appreciatively and began to eat. "I thought you had forgotten me long ago, Mrs. Fujiwara," he remarked with a smile. "Indeed, it's been so long." "It's such a pleasure to meet again like this," Mrs. Fujiwara said, seating herself on the edge of my bench. "Etsuko tells me that you reside in Fukuoka these days. I visited Fukuoka several times. A fine city, isn't it?" "Yes, indeed. Fukuoka is my hometown." "Fukuoka, your hometown? But you live and work here for years, Okata-san. Don't we have any claim on you in here in Nagasaki?" Ogata-san laughed and leaned his head to one side. "A man might work and make his contribution in one place, but at the end of it all," he shrugged and smiled wistfully. "At the end of it all, he still wants to go back to the place where he grew up." Mrs. Fujiwara nodded understandingly. Then she said, "I was just remembering, Ogata-san, the days when you were the headmaster at Suichi's school. He used to be so frightened of you." Ogata-san laughed. "Yes, I remember your Suichi very well. A bright little boy, very bright." "Do you really remember him still, Ogata-san?" "Yes, of course. I remember Suichi. He used to work very hard. A good little boy." "Yes, he was a good little boy." Ogata-san pointed at his bowl with his chopsticks. "This is really marvelous," he said. "Nonsense. I'm sorry I have nothing better to give you." "No, really, it's delicious." "Now let me see," said Mrs. Fujiwara. "There was a teacher in those days. She was very kind to Suichi. Now, what was her name? Suzuki? I think it was. Miss Suzuki. Have you any idea what became of her, Okada-san?" "Miss Suzuki? Ah, yes, I recall her quite well. But I'm afraid I have no idea where she could be right now." "She was very kind to Suichi. And there was another teacher, Kuroda was his name. An excellent young man." "Kuroda." Ogata-san nodded slowly. "Ah, yes, Kuroda. I remember him. A splendid teacher. Yes, A most impressive young man. My husband was very struck by him. Do you know what became of him? Kuroda. Ogata-san was still nodding to himself. A streak of sunlight had fallen across his face, lighting up the many wrinkles around his eyes. Kuroda, let me see. I ran into him once, quite by accident. That was the start of the war. I suppose he went off to fight. I never heard of him since. Yes, an excellent teacher. There are so many from those days I never hear of now. Someone called out to Mrs. Fujiwara and we watched her go hurriedly across the forecourt to a customer's table. She stood there, bowing for several times, and then cleared some dishes from the table and disappeared into the kitchen. Ogata-san watched her and then shook his head. A great pity to see her like this, he said in a low voice. I said nothing and continued to eat. Then Ogata-san leaned across the table and asked, Etsuko, what did you say is the name of her son? The one who is still alive, I mean. Kazuo, I whispered. He nodded, then returned to his bowl of noodles. Mrs. Fujiwara came back a few moments later. Such a shame I don't have anything better to offer you, she said. Nonsense, said Ogata-san. This is delicious. And how's Kazuo-san these days? He's fine. He's in good health. He enjoys his work. Splendid. Etsuko was telling me that he works for a motor car company. Yes, he's doing very well there. What's more, he's thinking of marrying again. Really? He said once he would never marry again, but he's starting to look ahead of things now. He has no one in mind as of yet, but at least he started to think ahead. That sounds like a good sense, Ogata-san said. Why, he's still quite a young man, isn't he? Of course he is. He still has all his life ahead of him. Of course he has his whole life ahead of him. You must find him a nice young lady, Mrs. Fujiwara. She laughed. Don't think I haven't tried, but young women are so different these days. It amazes me how things have changed so much so quickly. Indeed, how right you are. Young women these days are so headstrong and forever talking about washing machines and American dresses. Etsuko hears no different. Nonsense, father. Mrs. Fujiwara laughed again, then said, I remember the first time I heard of washing machine. I couldn't believe anyone would want such a thing. Spending all that money when you have two good hands to work with. But I'm sure Etsuko wouldn't agree with me. I was about to say something, but Ogata-san spoke first. Let me tell you, he said, what I heard the other day. A man was telling me this, a colleague of Jiro's. In fact, apparently, at the last election, his wife wouldn't agree with him about which party to vote for. He had to beat her, but she still didn't give way. So in the end, they voted for separate parties. Can you imagine such a thing happening in the old days? Extraordinary. Mrs. Fujiwara shook her head. Things are so different now, she said and sighed. But I hear from Etsuko, Jiro-san is getting on splendidly now. You must be so proud of him, Ogata-san. Yes, I suppose the boy is getting on well enough. In fact, today he'll be representing his firm at a most important meeting. It appears they are thinking of promoting him again. How marvelous! It was only last year he was promoted. I suppose his superiors must have a high opinion of him. How marvelous! You must be very proud of him. He's a determined worker, that one. He always was, from an early age. I remember when he was a boy and all the other fathers were busy telling the children to study harder. I was obliged to keep telling him to play more. It wasn't good for him to work so hard. Mrs. Fujiwara laughed and shook her head. Yes, Kazuo is a hard worker too, she said. He's often reading through his paperwork right into the night. I tell him he shouldn't work so hard, but he won't listen. No, no, they will never listen. But I must admit, I was much the same. But when you believe in what you are doing, you don't feel like idling away the hours. My wife was always telling me to take it easy, but I never listened. Yes, just the way just the way Kazuo is. But he'll have to change his ways if he marries again. Don't depend on it, Ogata-san said with a laugh. Then he put his chopsticks neatly together across the bowl. Why, that was a splendid meal. Nonsense. I am sorry I couldn't offer you something better, but you came for some more. If you have more to spare me, I would be delighted. These days I have to make the best of such good cooking, you know. Nonsense, said Mrs. Fujiwara again, getting to her feet. We had not been back when We had not been back long when Jiro came in from work, an hour or so earlier than usual. He greeted his father cheerfully, his show of temper the previous night apparently quite forgotten. Before disappearing to take his bath, he returned a little later, dressed in a kimono, humming a song to himself. He seated himself on a cushion and began to towel his hair. Well, how did it go? Ogata-san asked. What's that? Oh, the meeting, you mean? It wasn't so bad. Not so bad at all. I had been on the point of going into the kitchen, but paused at the doorway, waiting to hear what else Jiro had to say. His father, too, continued to look at him. For several moments, Jiro went on toweling his hair, looking at neither of us. In fact, he said at last, I suppose I did rather well. I persuaded their representative to sign an agreement. Not exactly a contract, but to all purposes the same thing. My boss was quite surprised. It's unusual for them to commit themselves like that. He told me to take the rest of the day off. Why? That's splendid news, Ogata-san said, then gave a laugh. He glanced towards me, then back to his son. That's splendid news. Congratulations, I said, smiling at my husband. I'm so glad. Jiro looked up as if noticing me for the first time. Why are you standing there like that? He asked. I wouldn't mind some tea, you know. He put down his towel and began combing his hair. That evening, in order to celebrate Jiro's success, I prepared a more elaborate meal than usual. Neither during supper nor during the rest of the evening did Ogata-san mention anything of his encounter with Shigeo Matsuda that day. However, just as we began to eat, he said quite suddenly, Well, Jiro, I'll be leaving you tomorrow. Jiro looked up. You're leaving? Oh, a pity. Well, I hope you enjoyed your visit. Yes, I have had a good rest. In fact, I've been with you rather longer than I planned. You are welcome, father, said Jiro. No need to rush, I assure you. Thank you, but I must be getting back now. There's a few things I have to be getting on with. Please come and visit us again, whenever it's convenient. Father, I said, you must come and see the baby when it arrives. Ogata-san smiled. Perhaps at New Year then, he said. But I won't bother you much earlier than that, Etsuko. You'll have enough on your hands without having to contend with me. A pity that you caught me at such a busy time, my husband said. Next time perhaps I won't be so hard-pressed and we'll have more time to talk. Now don't worry, Jiro. Nothing has pleased me more than to see how much you devote yourself to your work. Now, this deal's finally gone through, said Jiro. I'll have a little more time. A shame you have to go back just now. And I was thinking of taking a couple of days off too. Still, it can't be helped, I suppose. Father, I said, interrupting, if Jiro's going to take a few days off, can't you stay another week? My husband stopped eating, but did not look up. It's tempting, Okata-san said, but I really think it's time I went back. Jiro began to eat some more. A pity, he said. Yes, I must really get the veranda finished before Kikuko and her husband come. They are bound to want to come down in the autumn. Jiro did not reply, and we ate in silence for a while. Then Ogata-san said, "Besides, I can't sit here thinking about chess all day." He laughed a little. A li- he laughed a little strangely. Jiro nodded but said nothing. Ogata-san laughed again. Then, for several moments, we continued to eat in silence. "Do you drink sake these days, father?" Jiro asked eventually. "Sake? I take a drop sometimes, not often. Since this is your last evening with us, perhaps we should take some sake." Ogata-san seemed to consider this for a moment. Finally, he said with a smile, "There's no need to make a fuss about an old man like me, but I'll join you in a cup to celebrate your splendid future." Jiro nodded at me. I went to the cupboard and brought out a bottle and two cups. "I always thought you would go far," Ogata-san was saying. "You always showed promise." "Just because of what happened today, that's no guarantee they'll give me a promotion," my husband said. As, "But I suppose my efforts today will have done no harm." "No, indeed," said Ogata-san. I doubt if they I doubt if you did yourself much harm today." They both watched in silence as I poured out the sake. Then Ogata-san laid down his chopsticks and raised his cup. "Here's to your future, Jiro," he said. My husband, some food still in his mouth, also raised his cup. "And to yours, father," he said. Good morning, Mia. Hello. I'm glad you made it. Memory, I realize, can be an unreliable thing. Often, it is heavily colored by the circumstances in which one remembers, and no doubt, this applies to a certain of the recollections I have gathered here. For instance, I find it tempting to persuade myself it was a premonition I experienced that afternoon, that the unpleasant image which entered my thought that day was something altogether different, something much more intense and vivid than the numerous daydreams which drift through one's imagination during such long and empty hours. In all possibility, it was nothing so remarkable. The tragedy of the little girl found hanging from the tree, much more so than the earlier child murders, had made a shocked impression on the neighborhood. But I could not have been alone that summer in being disturbed by such image. It was the latter part of the afternoon, a day or two after our outing to Inasa, and I was occupying myself with some small chores around the apartment when I happened to glance outside the window. The waves ground outside must be so ha- must have hardened significantly since the first occasion I watched the large American car, for now I saw it coming across the uneven surface without undue difficulty. It continued to come nearer, then bump on the concrete beneath my window. The glare of the windscreen prevented me from seeing clearly, but I have a distinct impression that the driver was not alone. Good morning, Bit. No, it's okay, Mia. It's fine. I haven't been streaming much lately. I've been tired. I'll talk more about that later. Let us continue. The, the car moved around the apartment block and out of my vision. It must have been just then that it happened, just as I was gazing towards the cottage, in a somewhat confused state of mind, With no apparent provocation, that chilling image intruded into my thoughts, and I came away from the window with a troubled feeling. I returned to my housework, trying to put the picture out of my mind, but it was some minutes before I felt sufficiently rid of it to give consideration to the reappearance of the large white car. It was an hour or so later I saw the figure walking across the waste ground towards the cottage. I shaded my eyes to see more clearly. It was a woman, a thin figure, and she walked with a slow, deliberate step. The figure paused outside the cottage for some time, then disappeared behind the sloping roof. I continued to watch, but she did not re-emerge. To all appearances, the woman had gone inside. For several moments, I remained at the window, unsure what to do. Then finally, I put on some sandals and left the apartment outside the day. Outside the day. Sorry. Oh my god. I realized my character was blocking my visitors, so I moved my camera around. Outside, the day was at its hottest, and the journey across the few dry acres seemed to take an eternity. Indeed, the walk to the cottage tired me so much that when I arrived, I had almost forgotten my original purpose. It was with a kind of shock. Then I heard voices from within the cottage. One of the voices was Mariko's. The other I did not recognize. I stepped closer to the entrance, but could not make out no words. For several moments I remained there, not sure what I should do. Then I slid open the entrance and called out. The voices stopped, and I waited another moment, then stepped inside. Sip of tea. Chapter 10. After the brightness of the day outside, the interior of the cottage seemed cool and dark. Here and there, the sun came in sharply through the narrow gaps, lighting up small patches on the tatami. The odor of damp wood seemed as strong as ever. It took me a second or two for my eyes to adjust. There was an old woman sitting on the tatami, Mariko in front of her. In turning to face me, the old woman moved her neck with caution as if in fear of hurting her neck. Her face was thin and had a chalky paleness about it, which at first quite unnerved me. She looked up to be around 70 or so, though the frailness of her neck and shoulders could have derived from ill health as much as from age. Her kimono was of a dark somber color, the kind normally worn in mourning. Her eyes were slightly hooded and watched me with no apparent emotion. "How do you do?" she said eventually. I bowed slightly and returned some greeting. For a second or two, we looked at each other awkwardly. "Are you a neighbor?" the old woman asked. She had a slow way of speaking her words. "Yes," I said, "a friend." She continued to look at me for a moment, then asked, "Have you any idea where the occupant has gone?" "She has left the child here on her own." The little girl had shifted her position so that she was sitting alongside the stranger. At the old woman's question, Mariko looked at me intently. "No, I've no idea," I said. "It is odd," said the old woman. "The child doesn't seem to know either. I wonder where she could be. I cannot stay long. We gazed at each other for a few moments. Mom, have you come far? I asked. Quite far. Please excuse my clothes. I've just been attending a funeral. I see. I bowed again. A sorrowful occasion, the old woman said, nodding slowly to herself. A former colleague of my father. My father is too ill to leave the house. He sent me to pay his respect. It was a sorrowful occasion. She passed her gaze around the inside of the cottage, moving her head with the same carefulness. You have no idea where she is? She asked again. No, I'm afraid not. I cannot wait long. My father will be getting anxious. Is there perhaps some message I could pass on? I asked. The old woman did not answer for a while. Then she said, you could perhaps tell her I came here and was asking after her. I am a relative. My name is Yasuko Kawada. Yasuko-san? I did my best to conceal my surprise. You are Yasuko-san, Sachiko's cousin? The old woman bowed, and as she did so, her shoulders trembled slightly. If you would tell her I was here, that I was asking after her, you have no idea where she could be? Again, I denied any knowledge. The woman began nodding to herself again. Nagasaki is very different now, she said. This afternoon I could hardly recognize it. Yes, I said. I suppose it's greatly changed. But do you not live in Nagasaki? We lived in Nagasaki for many years. It's greatly changed, you say. New buildings have appeared, even new streets. It must have been in the spring, the last time I came out into the town, and even since then, new buildings have appeared. I'm certain they were not there in the spring. In fact, on that occasion, I believe I was attending a funeral. Yes, it was Yamashita-san's funeral. A funeral in spring seems all the sadder somehow. You are a neighbor, you say. Then I'm very pleased to make your acquaintance. Her face trembled, and I saw she was smiling. Her eyes had become very thin, and her mouth was curving downwards instead of up. I felt uncomfortable standing in the entryway, but did not feel free to step up to the tatami. I am very pleased to meet you, I said. Sachiko often mentions you. Mentions me? The woman seemed to consider this for a moment. We were expecting her to come and live with us, with my father and myself. Perhaps she told you as much? Yes, she did. We were expecting her 3 weeks ago, but she has not yet come. 3 weeks ago? Well, I suppose there must be some misunderstanding. I know she's preparing to move any day. The old woman's eyes passed around the cottage once more. A pity she isn't here, she said. But if you are her neighbor, then I'm very glad to have made your acquaintance. She bowed to me again, then went on gazing at me. Perhaps you will pass a message to her, she said. Why, certainly. The woman remained silent for some time. Finally, she said, we had a slight disagreement, she and I. Perhaps she even told you about it. Nothing more than a misunderstanding, that's all. I was very surprised to find she had packed and left the next day. I was very surprised indeed. I didn't mean to offend her. My father says I am to blame. She paused for a moment. I didn't mean to offend her, she repeated. It had never occurred to me before that Sachiko's uncle and cousin would know nothing of the existence of her American friend. I bowed again, and at loss for a suitable reply. I've missed her since she left, I confess it, the old woman continued. I've missed Mariko-san too. I enjoyed their company, and it was foolish of me to have lost my temper and said the things I did. She paused again and turned her face towards Mariko, and then back to me. My father, in his own ways, misses them also. He can hear, you see. He can hear how much quieter the house is. The other morning I found him awake and said to it reminded him of a tomb. Just like a tomb, he said. It would do my father much good to have them back again. Perhaps she will come back for his sake. I'll certainly convey your feelings to Sachiko-san, I said. For our own sake, too, the old woman said. After all, it isn't good that a woman should be without a man to guide her. Only harm can come of such situation. My father is ill, but his life is in no danger. She should come back now, but for her own well-being, if for nothing else. The old woman began to untie a kerchief lying at her side. In fact, I brought this with me, she said. Just some cardigans I knitted, nothing more, but it's fine wool. I had intended to offer them when she came back, but I brought them with me today. I first knitted one.
Stretch!
Oh, thank you. Okay. I first knitted one for Mariko, then I thought I may as well knit another for her mother. She held up a cardigan, then looked towards the little girl. Her mouth curved downwards again as she smiled. They look splendid, I said. It must have taken you such a long time. It's fine wool, the woman said again. She wrapped the kerchief back in around the cardigans and tied it carefully. Now, I must return. My father will be anxious. She got to her feet and came down off the tatami. I assisted her in putting on her wooden sandals. Mariko had come to the edge of the tatami, and the old woman lightly touched the top of the child's head. Remember then, Mariko-san, she said. Tell your mother what I told you, and you are not to worry about your kittens. There's plenty of room in the house for them all. We'll come soon, Mariko said. I'll tell mother. The woman smiled again. Then she turned to me and bowed. I'm glad to have made your acquaintance. I cannot stay any longer. My father, you see, is unwell. Oh, it's you, Etsuko, Sachiko said when I returned to her cottage that evening. Then she laughed and said, Don't look so surprised. You didn't expect me to stay here forever, did you? Articles of clothing, blankets, numerous other items lay scattered over the tatami. I made some appropriate reply and sat down where I would not be in the way. On the floor beside me, I noticed two splendid-looking kimonos I had never seen Sachiko wear. I also saw, in the middle of the floor, packed into a cardboard box, her delicate tea set of pale white china. Sachiko had opened wide the central partition to allow the last of the daylight to come into the cottage. Despite that, a dimness was fast setting in, and the sunset coming across the veranda barely reached the far corner where Mariko sat watching her mother quietly. Near her, two of the kittens were fighting playfully. The little girl was holding a third kitten in her arms. I expect Mariko told you, I said to Sachiko. There was a visitor for you earlier. Your cousin was here. Yes, Mariko told me. Sachiko continued to pack her trunk. You're leaving tomorrow morning? Yes, she said with a touch of impatience. Then she gave a sigh and looked up at me. Yes, let's go. We are leaving in the morning. She folded something away into the corner of the trunk. You have so much luggage, I said eventually. How will you ever carry it all? For a little while, Sachiko did not answer. Then, continuing to pack, she said, You know perfectly well, Etsuko. We'll put it in the car. I remained silent. She took a deep breath and glanced across the room to where I was sitting. Yes, we are leaving at Nagasaki, Etsuko. I assure you, I had every intention of coming to say goodbye once all the packing was finished. I wouldn't have left without thanking you. You have been the most kind person. Incidentally, as regards the loan, it will be returned to you through post. Please don't worry about that. She began to pack again. Where is it you are going? I asked. Kobe. Everything's decided now once and for all. Yes, it's wait, Kobe? Yes, Kobe. Then, after that, America. Frank has arranged everything. Aren't you pleased for me? She smiled quickly, then turned away. I went on watching her. Mariko, too, was watching her. The kitten in her arms was struggling to continue its companion on the tatami, but the little girl continued to hold it firmly. Beside her, in the corner of the room, I saw the vegetable box she had won at the Kujibiki stall. Mariko, it appeared, had converted the box into a house for her kittens. Instantly, Atsuko, the pile over there. Sachiko pointed. Those items I'll just have to leave behind. I had no idea there was so much. Some of them is of decent enough quality. Please make use of it if you wish. I don't mean any offense, of course. It's merely some of it is of good quality. But what about your uncle? I said, and your cousin. My uncle? She gave a shrug. It was kind of him to have invited me into his household, but I am afraid I've made other plans now. You have no idea, Etsuko, how relieved I'll be to leave this place. I trust I've seen the last of such squalor. Then she looked across to me once more and laughed. I can see exactly what you're thinking. I can assure you, Etsuko, you're quite wrong. He won't let me down this time. He'll be here with the car the first thing in the morning. Aren't you pleased for me? Sachiko looked around at the luggage, strewn all over the floor, and sighed. Then, stepping over the pile of clothes, she knelt beside the box containing the tea set and began filling it with rolls of wools. Have you decided yet? Mariko said suddenly. We can't talk about it now. Mariko, said her mother. I'm busy now. But you said I could keep them, don't you remember? Sachiko shook the cupboard gently. The china still rattled. She looked around, found a piece of cloth, and began tearing it into strips. You said I could keep them, Mariko said. Mariko, please consider the situation for a moment. How can we possibly take all those creatures with us? But you said I could keep them. Sachiko sighed, and for a moment seemed to be considering something. She looked down at the tea set, the little pieces of cloth held in her hands. You did, Mother, Mariko said. Don't you remember? You said I could. Sachiko looked up at her daughter, then towards the kittens. Things are different now, she said tiredly. Then a wave of irritation crossed her face, and she flung down the pieces of cloth. Mariko, how can you think so much of these creatures? How can we possibly take them with us? No, we'll just have to leave them here. But you said I could keep them. Sachiko glared at her daughter for a moment. Can't you think of anything else? She said, lowering her voice almost to a whisper. Aren't you old enough yet to see there are other things beside these filthy little animals? You just have to grow up a little. You simply can't have this sentimental attachment forever. These are just animals, don't you see? Don't you understand that, child? Don't you understand? Mariko stared back at her mother. If you like, Mariko-san, I put in, I could come and feed them from time to time. Then eventually they will find homes for themselves. There's no need to worry. The little girl turned to me. Mother said I could keep the kittens, she said. Stop being so childish, said Sachiko sharply. You're being so deliberately awkward as you always are. What does it matter about those dirty little creatures? She rose to her feet and went over to Mariko's corner. The kittens on the tatami scurried back. Sachiko looked down at them, then took a deep breath. Quite calmly, she turned the vegetable box to its side so that the wire grid panels were facing upwards, reached down and dropped the kittens one by one into the box. Then turned to her daughter. Mariko was still clutching the remaining kitten. Give me that, said Sachiko. Mariko continued to hold the kitten. Sachiko stepped forward and put her hand out. The little girl turned and looked at me. This is Atsu, she said. Do you want to see him, Atsuko-san? This is Atsu. Give me that creature, Mariko, Sachiko said. Don't you understand? It's just an animal. Why can't you understand that, Mariko? Are you really too young? It's not that you are a little baby. It's just an animal. Just like a rat or a snake. Now give it to me. Mariko stared up at her mother. Then slowly she lowered the kitten and let it drop to the tatami in front of her. The kitten struggled. As Sachiko lifted it off the ground, she dropped it into the vegetable box, slid shut the wire grid. Stay here, she said to her daughter, and picked the box up in her arms. Then, as she came past and she said to me, It's so stupid. These are just animals. Why does it matter? Mariko rose to her feet and seemed about to follow her mother. Sachiko turned at the entryway and said, Do as you are told. Stay here. For a few moments, Mariko remained standing at the edge of the tatami, looking at the doorway where her mother had disappeared. Wait for your mother here, Mariko-san, I said. The little girl turned and looked at me. Then the next moment, she had gone. For a moment or two, I did not move. Then eventually, I got to my feet, put on my sandals. From the doorway, I could see Sachiko down by the water, the vegetable box beside her feet. She appeared not to have noticed her daughter standing several yards behind her, just at the point where the ground began to slope down deeply. I left the cottage and made my way where Mariko was standing. Let's get back to the house, Mariko-san, I said gently. The little girl's eyes remained on her mother, her face devoid of any expression. Down in front of us, Sachiko knelt cautiously on the bank, then moved the box a little nearer. Let's go inside, Mariko, I said, but the little girl continued to ignore me. I left her and walked down to the muddy slope where Sachiko was kneeling. The sunset was coming through the trees on the opposite bank, and the reeds that grew along the water's edge cast long shadows on the muddy ground around us. Sachiko had found some grass to kneel on, but that was too thick with mud. Can't we let them loose? I said quietly. You never know. Someone may want them. Sachiko was gazing down into the vegetable box through the wire gaze. She slid open a panel, brought out a kitten and shut the box. She held the kitten in both hands, looked at it for a few seconds, and then glanced up at me. It's just an animal, Etsuko, she said. That is all. She put the kitten into the water and held it there. She remained like that for several moments, staring into the water, both hands beneath the surface. She was wearing a casual summer kimono, and the corners of her sleeve touched the water. Then, for the first time, without taking her hands from the water, Sachiko threw a glance over her shoulder towards her daughter. Instinctively, I followed her glance, and one brief moment, the two of us were both staring back up at Mariko. The little girl was standing at the top of the slope, watching with the same blank expression. On seeing her mother's face turn to her, she moved her head very slightly, then she remained quite still. Her hands behind her back, Sachiko brought her hands out of the water, stared at the kitten she was still holding. She brought it closer to her face, and the water ran down her wrists and arms. It's still alive, she said tiredly. Then she turned to me and said, "Look at this water, Etsuko. It's so dirty." With an air of disgust, she dropped the soaked kitten back into the box and shut it. "How these things struggle," she muttered, and held up her wrist to show me the scratch marks. Somehow, Sachiko's hair had also become wet. One drop, then another, fell from a thin strand which hung down from one side of her face. Sachiko adjusted her position, then pushed the vegetable box over the edge of the bank. The box rolled and landed in the water. To prevent it from floating, Sachiko leaned forward and held it down. The water came almost halfway up the wire grid. She continued to hold down the box, then finally pushed it with both her hands. The box floated a little way into the river. Bob sank further. Sachiko got to her feet, and both of us watched the box. It continued to float, then caught in the current and began moving more swiftly downstream. Some movement caught my eyes and made me turn. Mariko had run several yards down the river's edge to a spot where the bank jutted out into the water. She stood there watching the box float on, her face still expressionless. The box caught in some reeds, freed itself and continued its journey. Mariko began to run again. She ran on some distance along the bank, then stopped again to watch the box. By this time, only a small corner was visible above the surface. "This water is so dirty," Sachiko said. She had been shaking the water off her hands. She squeezed, in turn, the sleeve ends of her kimono, then brushed the mud off her knees. "Let's go back inside, Etsuko. The insects here are becoming intolerable." "Shouldn't we go and get Mariko? It will be dark soon." Sachiko turned and called her daughter's name. Mariko, now 50 yards or so away, still looking at the water. She did not seem to hear, and Sachiko gave a shrug. "She'll come back in time," she said. "Now, I must finish packing before the light goes completely." She began to walk up the slope towards the cottage. Sachiko lit the lantern and hung it from a low wooden beam. "Don't worry yourself, Etsuko," she said. "She'll be back soon enough." She made her way through the various items strewn over the tatami, seated herself as before, in front of the open partition. Behind her, the sky had become pale and faded. She began packing again. I sat down at the opposite side of the room and watched her. "What are your plans now?" I asked. "What will you do once you arrive in Kobe?" "Everything's been arranged at school," she said without looking up. "There's no need to worry." Frank had seen to everything. But why Kobe? He has friends there. At the American base. He's been entrusted with a job on the cargo ship, and he'll be in America in a very short time. Then he'll send us the necessary amount of money, and we'll go and join him. He's seen to all the arrangement." "You mean he's leaving Japan without you?" Sachiko laughed. "One needs to be patient, Etsuko. Once he arrives in America, he'll be able to work and send money. It's by far the most sensible solution. After all, it'll be so much easier for him to find work once he's back in America. I don't mind waiting a little." "I see. He's seen to everything, Etsuko. He's found a place for us to stay in Kobe. He's seen to it, and we'll get on a ship at almost half the usual cost." She gave a sigh. "You have no idea how pleased I am to be leaving this place." Sachiko continued to pack. The pale light from the outside fell on one side of her face, but her hands and sleeve were caught in the glow of the lantern. It was a strange effect. "Do you expect to wait long in Kobe?" I asked. She shrugged. I'm prepared to be patient, Atsuko. One needs to be patient. I could not see the dimness, what it was she was folding. It seemed to be giving her some difficulty, for she opened and refolded it several times. In any case, Etsuko, why would he have gone through all this trouble if he wasn't absolutely sincere? Why would he have gone through all this trouble on my behalf? Sometimes, Etsuko, you seem so doubting. You should be happy for me. Things are working out at last. Yes, of course. I'm very happy for you, but really, Etsuko, it would be unfair to start doubting him after he had gone through all this trouble. It would be quite unfair. Yes, and Mariko would be happier there. America is a far better place for a young girl to grow up. Oh, not so true anymore, huh? Sorry. Out there, she could do all kinds of things with her life. She could become a business girl, or she could study painting at college and become an artist. All these things are so much easier in America, Etsuko. Japan is no place for a girl. What can she look forward to here? I made no reply. Sachiko glanced up at me and gave a small laugh. Try and smile, Etsuko, she said. Things will turn out well in the end. Yes, I'm sure they will. Of course they will. Yes. For a minute or so, Sachiko continued her packing. Then her hands became still and she gazed across the room towards me and her face caught in a strange mixture of light. I suppose you think I'm a fool, she said quietly. Don't you, Etsuko? I looked back at her a little surprised. I realize we may never see America, she said. And even if we did, I know how difficult things will be. Did you think I never knew that? I gave no reply, and we went on staring at each other. But what of it? Said Sachiko. What difference does it make? Why shouldn't I go to Kobe? After all, Etsuko, what do I have to lose? There's nothing for me at my uncle's house, just a few empty rooms, that's all. I could sit there in a room and grow old. Other than that, you'll be nothing. Just empty rooms, that's all. You know that yourself, Etsuko. But Mariko, I said. What about Mariko? Mariko? She'll manage well enough. She'll just have to. Sachiko continued to gaze at me through the dimness of one side of her face in shadow. Then she said, Do you think I imagined for one moment that I'm a good mother to her? I remained silent. Then suddenly, Sachiko laughed. Why are we talking like this? She said, and her hands began to move busily once more. Everything will turn out well, I assure you. I'll write to you when I reach America. Perhaps, Etsuko, you'll even come and visit us one day. You could bring your child with you. Yes, indeed. Perhaps you'll have several children by then. Yes, I said, laughing awkwardly. You never know. Sachiko gave a sigh, lifted both her hands into the air. There's so much to pack, she murmured. I'll just have to leave some of it behind. I sat there for some moments watching her. If you wish, I said eventually, I could go and look for Mariko. It's getting rather late. You only tire yourself, Etsuko. I'll finish packing, and if she still hasn't come back, we could go and look for her together. It's alright. I'll see if I can find her. It's nearly dark now. Sachiko glanced up and then shrugged. Perhaps you'd be best to take the lantern with you, she said. It's quite slippery along the bank. I rose to my feet and took the lantern down from the beam. The shadows moved across the cottage as I walked towards the doorway. As I was leaving, I glanced towards Sachiko. I could see only her silhouette, seated before the open partition, the sky behind her. turned almost to night. Insects followed my lantern as I made. Thank you! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. A short break. I'll be right back in about 2 minutes. Sorry, I'm back. I remember I have to reheat a lunch I took out from the fridge. Oh my god, 12 viewers. Thank you for being here, you guys. Let me just continue. Insects followed my lantern as I made my way along the river. Oh wait, one moment, please. Sorry, I'm being annoying. I always forget. Is anyone? Oh, Beat is here. Yeah, you can rest on the carpet definitely. Yes. Okay. Alrighty. Let us continue. Insects followed my lantern as I made my way along the river. Occasionally, some creature would become trapped inside, and I would then have to stop and hold the lantern still until it had found its way out. In time, the small wooden bridge appeared on the bank ahead of me. While crossing it, I stopped for a moment to gaze at the evening sky. As I recall, a strange sense of tranquility came over me there on that bridge. I stood there for some minutes, leaning over the rail, listening to the sound of the river below me. And when I finally turned, I saw my own shadow cast by the lantern thrown across the wooden slats of the bridge. "What are you doing here?" I asked, for the little girl was before me, sat crouched beneath the opposite rail. I came forward until I could see her more clearly under my lantern. She was looking at her palms and said nothing. "What's the matter with you?" I said. "Why are you sitting here like this?" The insects were clustering around the lantern. I put it down in front of me, and the child's face became more sharply illuminated. After a long silence, she said, "I don't want to go away. I don't want to go away tomorrow." I gave a sigh. "But you'll like it. Everyone's a little frightened of new things, but you'll like it over there." "I don't want to go away. And I don't like him. He's like a pig." "You're not to speak like that," I said angrily. We stared at each other for a moment. Then she looked back down at her hands. "You mustn't speak like that," I said more calmly. "He's very fond of you, and he'll be just like a new father. Everything will turn out well, I promise." The child said nothing. I sighed again. In any case, I went on, if we don't like it over there, we can always come back. This time, she looked up at me questioningly. Yes, I promise, I said. If you don't like it over there, we'll come back. But we have to try it and see if we like it there. I'm sure we will. The little girl was watching me closely. Why are you holding that? She asked. This? It just caught around my sandal, that's all. Why are you holding it? I told you. It caught around my foot. What's wrong with you? I gave a short laugh. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm not going to hurt you. Without taking her eyes off me, she slowly rose to her feet. What's wrong with you? I repeated. The child began to run, her footsteps drumming along the wooden boards. She stopped at the end of the bridge and stood watching me suspiciously. I smiled at her and picked up the lantern. The child began once more to run. A half moon had appeared above the water, and for several quiet moments I remained on the bridge, gazing at it. Once, through the dimness, I thought I could see Mariko running towards the riverbank in the direction of the cottage. Chapter 11. At first, I was sure someone had walked past my bed and out of my room, closing the door quietly. Then, I became more awake and realized how fanciful an idea this was. I lay in bed listening for further noises. Quite obviously, I had heard Nikki in the next room. She had complained throughout her stay of being unable to sleep. Or possibly there has been no noises at all. I had awoken again during the early hours from habit. The sounds of birds came from outside, but my room was still in darkness. After several minutes, I rose and found my dressing gown. When I opened my door, the light outside was very pale. I stepped further onto the landing, almost by instinct, cast a glance down to the far end of the corridor towards Keiko's door. Then, for a moment, I was sure I heard a sound come from within Keiko's room. A small, clear sound amidst the singing of birds outside. I stood still, listening, then began to walk towards the door. Then came more noises, and I realized they were coming from the kitchen downstairs. I remained on the landing for a moment, then made my way downstairs, down the staircase. Nikki was coming out of the kitchen and started on seeing me. Oh, mother, you gave me a real fright. In the murky light of the hallway, I could see her thin figure in a pale dressing gown holding a cup in both her hands. I'm sorry, Nikki. I thought perhaps you were a burglar. My daughter took a deep breath but still seemed shaken. Then she said, I couldn't sleep very well, so I thought I might as well make some coffee. What time is it now? About 5, I suppose. She went into the living room, leaving me standing at the foot of the stairs. I went into the kitchen to make myself a cup of coffee before going to join her. In the living room, Nikki had opened the curtains and was sitting astride a hardback chair, looking emptily out into the garden. The grey light from the window fell on her face. Will it rain again, do you think? I asked. She shrugged and continued to look out of the window. I sat down near the fireplace and watched her. Then she sighed tiredly and said, I don't seem to sleep very well. I keep having these bad dreams all the time. That's worrying, Nikki. At your age, you should have no problem sleeping. She said nothing and went on looking at the garden. What kind of bad dreams do you have? I asked. Oh, just bad dreams. Bad dreams about what, Nikki? Just bad dreams, she said, suddenly irritated. What does it matter what they are about?
We fell silent for a moment. Then Nikki said without turning, I suppose Dad should have looked after her a bit more, shouldn't he? He ignored her most of the time. It wasn't fair, really. I waited to see if she would say more. Then I said, well, it's understandable enough. He wasn't her real father after all. But it wasn't fair, really. Outside, I could see. It's nearly daylight. A lone bird was making its noises somewhere close by the window. Your father was rather idealistic at times, I said. Those days, you see, he really believed we could give her a happy life over here. Nikki shrugged. I watched her for a little longer, then said, but you see, Nikki, I knew all along. I knew all along she wouldn't be happy over here, but I decided to bring her just the same. My daughter seemed to consider this for a moment. Don't be silly, she said, turning to me. How could you have known? And you did everything you could for her. You're the last person anyone could blame. I remained silent. Her face, devoid of any makeup, looked very young. Anyway, she said, sometimes you've got to take risks. You did exactly the right thing. You can't just watch your life wasting away. I put down the coffee cup I had been holding and stared past her out into the garden. There were no signs of rain and the sky seemed clearer than on previous mornings. It would have been so stupid, Nikki went on, if you just accepted everything the way it was and stayed where you were. At least you made an effort, as you say. Now, let's not discuss this any further. It's so stupid the way people just waste their lives. Let's not discuss this any further, I said more firmly. There's no point going over all that now. My daughter turned away again. We sat without talking for a while. Then I rose to my feet and came closer to the window. You look so much better today, I said. Perhaps the sun will come out. If it does, Nikki, we could go for a walk. It would do us a lot of good. I suppose so, she mumbled. When I left the living room, my daughter was still sitting astride her chair, her chin supported by her hand, gazing emptily out into the garden. When the telephone rang, Nikki and I were finishing breakfast in the kitchen. It had rung for her so frequently during the previous few days that it seemed natural she should be the one who go and answer it. By the time she returned, her coffee had grown cold. Your friend again? I asked. She nodded. Then went over to switch on the kettle. Actually, Mother, she said, I'll have to get back this afternoon. Is that alright? She said, standing with one hand on the handle of the kettle and the other on her hip. Of course it's alright. It's been nice having you here, Nikki. I'll come and see you again soon, but I've really got to be getting back now. You don't have to apologize. It's very important to you to lead your own life now. Nikki turned away and waited for her kettle. The windows above the sink unit had misted over a little, but outside the sun was shining. Nikki poured herself coffee, then sat down at the table. Oh, by the way, Mother, she said, you know the friend I was telling you about, the one writing a poem about you? I smiled. Oh yes, your friend. She wanted me to bring back a photo or something of Nagasaki. Have you got anything like that? An old postcard or something? I should think I could find something for you. How absurd. I gave a laugh. Wherever she can be writing about me. She's a really good poet. She's been through a lot, you see. That's why I told her about you. I'm sure she'll write a marvelous poem, Nikki. Just an old postcard, anything like that, so that she can see what everything was like. Well, Nikki, I'm not so sure. It has to show everything. What everything was like, does it? You know what I mean? I laughed again. I have to look for you later. Nikki had been buttering a piece of toast, but now she began to scrape off some butter again. My daughter has been thin since childhood, but the idea that she was concerned at becoming fat amused me. I watched her for a moment. Still, I said eventually, it's a pity you are leaving today. I was about to suggest we went to the cinema this evening. The cinema? Why? What's on? I don't know what kind of films to show these days. I was hoping you would know more about it. Actually, Mother, it's ages since we went to film together, isn't it? Not since I was little. Nikki smiled, and for a moment her face became so childlike. Then she put down a knife and gazed at her coffee cup. I don't go to see films much either. There's always loads on in London, but we don't go out much. Well, if you prefer, there is always the theater. The bus takes you right up to the theater now. I don't know what they have on right now, but we could find out. Is that the local people there, just behind you? Well, Mother, don't bother. There's not much point. I think they do quite good plays sometimes. Sometimes more than once. It'll say in the paper. There's not much point, Mother. I have to go back today. I would like to stay, but I've really got to get back. Of course, Nikki. There's no need to apologize. I smiled at her across the table. As a matter of fact, it's a great comfort to me you have good friends and enjoy being with. You are always welcome to bring any of them here. Yes, Mother. Thank you. The spare room Nikki had been using was small and stark. The sun was streaming into it that morning. Will this do for your friend? I asked from the doorway. Nikki was packing a suitcase on the bed and glanced up briefly at the calendar I had found. That's fine, she said. I stepped further into the room. From the window I could see the orchard below and the neat rows of thin young trees. The calendar I was holding had originally offered a photograph for each month, but all but the last had been torn away. For a moment, I regarded the remaining picture. Don't give me anything important, Nikki said. If there isn't anything, it doesn't matter. I laughed and laid the picture down on the bed alongside her other things. It's just an old calendar, that's all. I have no idea why I've kept it. Nikki pushed some hair back behind her ear, then continued packing. I suppose, I said, you plan to go on living in London for the time being. She gave a shrug. Well, I'm quite happy there. You must send my best wishes to all of your friends. All right, I will. And to David. That was his name, wasn't it? She gave another shrug and said nothing. She had brought with her 3 separate pairs of boots, and now she was struggling to find a way of putting them into her case. I suppose, Nikki, you don't have any plans yet to be getting married? What do I want to get married for? I was just asking. Why should I get married? What's the point of that? You plan to just go on living in London, do you? Well, why should I get married? That's so stupid. Mother? She rolled up the calendar and packed it away. So many women just get brainwashed. They think all there is to life is getting married and have loads of kids. I continued to watch her. Then I said, but in the end, Nikki, there isn't very much else. God, Mother, there's plenty of things I could do. I don't want to just get stuck away somewhere with a husband and a load of screaming kids. Why are you going on about it suddenly, anyway? The lid of her suitcase would not shut. She pushed down at it impatiently. I was only wondering what your plans were, Nikki, I said with a laugh. There's no need to get so cross. Of course, you must do what you choose. She opened the lid again and adjusted some of the contents. Now, Nikki, there's no need to get so crossed. This time she managed to close the lid. God knows why I brought so much, she muttered to herself. What do you say to people, Mother? Nikki asked. What do you say when they ask where I am? My daughter has decided she need not leave until after lunch, and we had come out walking throughout the orchard behind the house. The sun was still out, but the air was chilly. I gave her a puzzled look. I just tell them you're living in London, Nikki. Isn't that the truth? I suppose so. But
Thank you, Zillant Jotman, for the follow. Thank you so much. Aww. Alright, I'll read it after I finish the book, alright? Thank you. Oh, it's been a while since I hear that sound. Thank you so much for the follow.
don't they ask what I'm doing? Like that old Mrs. Waters the other day? Yes, sometimes they ask. I tell them you're leaving with your friends, really. Nikki, I had no idea you were so concerned about what other people thought about you. I'm not. We continued to walk slowly. In many places, the ground had become marshy. I suppose you don't like it very much, do you, Mother? Like what? The way things are with me. You don't like me living away with David and all that? We had come to the end of the orchard. Nikki stepped out to a small winding lane and crossed to the other side towards the small wooden gates of a field. I followed her. The grass field was large and rose gradually as it spread away from us. At its crest, we could see two thin sycamore trees against the sky. I'm not ashamed of you, Nikki, I said. You must leave as you think best. My daughter was gazing at the field. They used to have horses here, didn't they? She said, putting her arms up on the gate. I looked, but there were no horses to be seen. You know, it's strange, I said. I remember when I first married, there was a lot of argument because my husband didn't want to live with his father. You see, in those days, that was still quite expected in Japan. There was a lot of argument about that. I bet you were relieved, Nikki said, not taking her eyes off the field. Relieved? About what? About not having to live with his father? On the contrary, Nikki, I would have been happy if he had lived with us. Besides, he was a widower. It's not a bad thing after all, the old Japanese way. Obviously, you say that now. I bet that's not what you thought about at that time, though. But Nikki, you really don't understand. I was really fond of my father-in-law. I looked at her for a moment, then finally gave a laugh. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps. I was relieved he didn't come to live with us. I don't remember now. I reached forward and touched the roof of the wooden gate. A little moisture came away on my finger. I realized Nikki was watching me and I held up my hand to show her. There's still some frost, I said. Do you still think about Japan a lot, Mother? I suppose so. I turned back to the field. I have a few memories. Two ponies had appeared near the sycamore tree. For a moment, they stood quite still in the sunshine, side by side. That calendar I gave you this morning, I said. That's the view of the harbor in Nagasaki. This morning, I was remembering the time we went there once on a day trip. Those hills over the harbor are very beautiful. The ponies moved slowly behind the trees. What's so special about it? Said Nikki. Special? About that day you spent at the harbor. Oh, there was nothing special about it. I'm just remembering it, that's all. Keiko was happy that day. We rode on cable cars. I gave a laugh and turned to Nikki. No, there was nothing special about it. It's just a happy memory, that's all. My daughter gave a sigh. Everything's so quiet out here, she said. I don't remember things being this quiet. Yes, it must seem quiet after London. I suppose it gets a bit boring sometimes out here on your own. But I do enjoy the quiet, Nikki. I always think it's so truly like England out here. I turn away from the field, and for a moment, I turn away from the field and for a moment look back towards the orchard behind us. All those trees weren't there when we first came here, I said eventually. It was all fields. All you could see was the house from here. When your father first brought me down here, Nikki, I remember how things were so truly like England, everything it looked. All these fields and the house too. It was so the way I always imagined England would be, and I was so pleased. Nikki took a deep breath and moved away from the gate. We'd better be getting back, she said. I'll have to be going fairly soon. As we walked through the orchard, the sky seemed to cloud over. I was just thinking the other day, I said. Perhaps I should sell the house now. Sell it? Yes, and move somewhere smaller perhaps. Just an idea. You want to sell the house? My daughter gave me a concerned look. But it's a really nice house. But it's so large now. But it's a really nice house, Mother. It would be a shame. I suppose so. It was just an idea, Nikki, that's all. I suppose I would like to have seen her to the railway station. It's only a few minutes' walk, but the idea seemed to embarrass her. She left shortly after lunch, with an oddly self-conscious air, as if she was leaving without my approval. The afternoon had turned grey and windy, and I stood in the doorway as she walked down the end of the drive. She was dressed in the same tight-fitting clothes she had arrived in. Her suitcase made her drag her step a little. When she reached the gate, Nikki glanced back and seemed surprised to find me still standing at the door. I smiled and waved to her. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of A Pale View of Hills. We finished the book, finally. I mean, not in a bad way, in a good way. We finished the book. I don't know how much you guys were paying attention to the book, but I really like it. It's Kazuo Ishiguro's first novel, published in 1982. There's some very good quotes in there. I'm trying to find it. Memory, I realize, can be an unreliable thing. Often it is heavily colored by the circumstances in which one remembers, and no doubt this applies to certain of the recollections I have gathered here. I like how
I know some people probably really hate how vague. Aww, no worries. I always upload the VOD on my stream, on my channel after I'm done. So you can always go and listen to all of them from the beginning too. Okay, and for Zealand, who thank you for the follow and also have redeemed a quote on love. Oh my god. Oh, so sorry. Everyone came in and everyone. Oh, oh, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Seriously. Thank you. I'm so sorry, Noel. We are just done with the book, and now I'm going to read a quote on love by Paulo Coelho. Zelant, can you pick from page 10 to page 128? You can pick from page 10 to page 128. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. You should drop by more next time. Page 13. Okay. Since you are since you just joined us, I'll give you 2 quotes for 1 payment. An additional. Yeah, you can. I think it might be better if you interact in my chat. Okay, I'll give you 2 quotes. Okay, because you just sub to me. I mean, not sub. Sorry, just followed me and also first redemption. You deserve it. All right. A quote on love. The first is from the book By the River Piedra. I sat down and wept by Paulo Coelho. The first one is, the wise man is only wise because he loves. The fool is only foolish because he thinks he can understand love. That's the first one. The wise man is only wise because he loves. The fool is only foolish because he thinks he can understand love. A bonus one for you, a bit longer. The spiritual experience is above all a practical experience of love. And in love, there are no rules. We can try to follow manuals to control our heart, to plan our every move, but that is all nonsense. The heart decides, and the heart decides is what counts. Now repeat the second one. The spiritual experience is above all a practical experience of love. And in love, there are no rules. We can try to follow manuals to control our heart, to plan our every move, but that is all nonsense. The heart decides, and what the heart decides is what counts. That is the quote on love. 2 for Zelontier, who just joined us for the first time ever. Thank you so much for the follow. And for we're gonna have a little tarot card reading for the day. And to those who are interested, I do very casual tarot card reading, so don't expect too much from me. I'm a casual. Oh shit. See it? Okay, calm down. Okay. Sorry, let me take a picture real quick, okay? Because it's very rare for me to get actually get people this many people in my stream. People usually drop by, but they don't really stay for long and all that. So I have to take a good picture of this occasion. Thank you so much. I'm terrible G poser, so. Alright, let's go. Tarot card redemption. Mine to find. You can. No worries. You can switch on your phone for it and all that. Okay. A tarot card redemption card of the day for Twisty, my mod, and also my partner in game and live. Shuffle 9 times and then pick the top card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are you ready? Your card of the day is ooh, 6 of Pentacles. You are very generous today. 6 of Pentacles. You are being very generous today. So 6 of Pentacles, keywords are give and take, generosity, prosperity, good fortune, and cooperations. So usually it doesn't just mean that you are giving things away, but you're also taking some things. Or in some ways, 6 of Pentacles can also mean that you should not hesitate to ask for help when you need to. So this card represents generosity and sharing resources. Yeah, and sharing resources with others. It also points to a time of financial security and balance. So the 6 of Pentacles heralds good times ahead, or good times today, because it's the card of the day. So good times today, particularly in financial and materials area. You can profit from cooperative ventures, combining your talents and sharing resources for the greater good. This card can also represent philanthropic projects or providing work for other people. You could think of this as a win-win card. So you help people and you get something back. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't need to be something material. It could be just goodwill. Yeah? It's a very good card. I like 6 of Pentacles. It's one of the best cards you can get. And there is a saying or a poem or something. I think a saying would be more appropriate to say this, by Lao Tzu, who is the author, an old philosopher sage who wrote the Tao Te Ching. Be content with what you have, rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. So,
for today, Christy, make good use of the resources that you have on your hands and within your reach, basically, and make good use of it because it's going to be a win-win situation for you and also that resources or the person giving you that resources. Yeah. So, Six of Pentacles, really good card. No, I don't. I rarely do Western fiction. I like to read Asian fiction because I think there are a lot of talented Asian fiction writers out there. And I'm very biased because I'm a weeb, so I really like Japanese fiction. But okay, listen. But when you think about it, right, Kazuo Ishiguro is more of a Western fiction writer than than Japanese fiction writer. Seriously, I haven't read a lot of Kazuo. Do you know Kazuo Ishiguro's bibliography? His books, his novels, his fiction novels are mostly about Westerners. So in a way, yeah, I do read Western fiction, sure, through Kazuo Ishiguro, who is a Japanese writer, but he is definitely 100% more British than Japanese. Um, but I've already chosen my next book. I don't know if I should announce it or I should tease you guys. I bought a lot of new books lately. But yeah, I don't know. Should I tell you guys what's the next book that I'm going to read? Tomorrow I'm not gonna read because I'm still resting. Okay, so to those who don't know, like Zelon or Noel, I I have really bad anxiety problems, but yes, last week I went out 2 days in a row and spent like 9 hours out, 6 hours out each day, and I'm basically an introvert recuperating right now. That's why I didn't. I usually read books for Noodibles on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I couldn't do it on Monday because I was still so tired. I couldn't do it yesterday because I was still so tired. So I moved it to today instead. Um, Neuro. The tentacle porn lover finally shows himself. Yeah, exactly. Zelon, you understand, right? So, yeah. I'm just reading. This 2 hours of reading. It's me being an extrovert again because it requires me to talk to you guys and like communicate. But it's a lot better than in person because it's like in person I have to make sure that I'm looking good. You know, I'm not like. Right now I'm basically still wearing my pajamas and all that. So yeah, but yeah, Zelon, follow me on Twitter if you haven't found it yet. Let me go find it. Let me go find my own Twitter because I don't know where's my own Twitter. uh, Zelon, you can follow me on Twitter. I always post whatchamacallit, teasers or like just I usually post teasers and all that before I stream and also announcement before I stream. Because I really want to play Yakuza 6 this Saturday afternoon. So tomorrow I'm not gonna stream because I know that that's gonna take a lot of energy away from me. So my next stream will not be Noodible. Our next Noodible will be on next Monday with a brand new book. But it will be on Monday, Thursday, and Friday because Tuesday and Wednesday I'm very, very, very busy. So thank you so much for the follow. Yep. No, why would I be nervous around you, Noel?
I was so sad that you came in so late because you missed out the reading. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I really love reading, and I really love reading it. For those who don't know, for the new viewers, the concept of Noodible, basically my name and Audible, came from the fact that I really like to read out loud because I have this habit of reading a book out loud since I was a teenager. Because I English is like my third language basically. So I used to like have a tape recorder where I would record myself read out loud and then re-listen to it in a very cringe way because I hate listening to my own voice. But I will re-listen to it so that I will like check my pronunciation and all that. So yeah. Thank you for dropping by, Ceylon. Yeah, it's just a way for me to like learn English basically, to learn how to pronounce English properly because it's not my first language. Um and it became a habit and aw, no, babe, thank you. I wouldn't say so, but you you have heard me raid. You, if you guys have time, I recommend you guys go and watch my first Yakuza 6 playthrough. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the praises. I feel very awkward about this. It's always awkward to get praises. But thank you so much. Yes. Um, yeah, but if you guys have time, I recommend you guys to go and watch my Yakuza 6 playthrough, the entire playthrough. It's not Nudible's. It's not Nudible Nuna for sure. Oh shit! Thank you! Oh, 110! Hell yeah! 10 more to 120, huh? Thank you so much for the follow! Thank you so much, Noel. Aww, thank you. So yes, hopefully by next week, Nudible will be back to 3 days in a week. Cause I really miss it. It's just that I'm too tired from socializing outside, and I really miss reading to you guys. And I, you want me to? Yes. Do it that way. Yeah. How are you enjoying Kiwami 1 right now? I hope you're enjoying it. Have you finished Yakuza 0? Sorry, I haven't been very active in the Discord channel that you guys are in recently because I've just been super busy lately. And I'm still thinking if I should start my own Discord channel. I just feel it's like so narcissistic to have my own Discord channel. I don't know. I have to discuss this with my moderators. Oh, do you like what what happened to Majima? Majima just realized that. Oh, spoilers alert to anyone who hasn't played Yakuza before. But Majima basically realized that to live is to suffer. So if you're suffering, might as well just fucking have fun. Get what I mean? Because he suffered through so much. He suffered through, you know? Yeah, fucking love him. He's my favorite character for sure, 100%. Kiryu is so boring compared to him. But then it's a very typical Japanese type of like trope, like a straight man and a not a straight man and a funny guy
kind of thing. Thank you for the hydration. Yeah. So yeah, Majima just realized that life is hell. So if you're living in hell, you might as well have fun. So you can say he's crazy. I think he's having fun. And that's something to strive for in life, you know. I gotta make more different avatar. Oh, seriously? Okay. The next one will be. Oh, wait. Do you stream art? Do you stream when you do art? You should stream when you do art. I would love to watch that. Seriously. Okay. So for those who are new, Noel and Zelont are very obviously in here. I don't know who else are in the stream right now because there are 13 people. But for those who are new, I do Noodibles 3 times a week. Usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. GMT plus 8. I do try my best to keep the party finder up, but sometimes when I'm very into reading, I just forget to update it. Yeah. Yeah, you should do art stream. Seriously, people are very into those things right nowadays. I mean, you guys are into me reading, so there's a lot of different interests out there. 11 a.m. a.m. 11 a.m. GMT plus 8. I am located in Southeast Asia. GMT plus 8. 11 a.m. Yeah. So, like I said, follow me on Twitter. I always tweet 45 minutes before I go live for Noodibles. That I mean, you can put on an. I think in Twitter you can put an alert, right, for people who whenever they tweet. And don't worry, I don't really tweet that much on Twitter, so you won't like be spammed and all that. Yeah, consider it, Noel. People are very into like art streams. I am into art streams. Like when I'm working, it's either I'm watching something or it would be so nice if you are like doing your art stream right after my stream. I mean, we can do stream together, and then we can just like promote each other's stream. Shameless. But yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But next week, it's not going to be on Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm crazy busy. Wednesday, I have 3 different appointments in the same day, and one of them is like a cat check, like X-ray scan thing. So yeah. So what else? So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but next week will be Monday, Thursday, Friday, 11 a.m. GMT plus 8. I put on the party finder about 5-10 minutes before I go live, so I'm usually very uh right on point. Yeah, exactly. Zelont will be opening 2 tabs on 2 monitor screen or something like that. And those wait, Noel's IGN is Noel Godric. I don't think it's the same Noel that you're talking about, Ando. It could be a different Noel. There's a lot of Noels out there. But yeah. I'm so happy that you guys are here today. I was so scared that when I come back after like almost like an entire week of like not streaming, there will be nobody here. But it depends. Sometimes there are like just 3 people listening to me. Like I think last week there were just like 3 people listening to me because people were busy. I don't blame them.
Not everyone has the free time that I do have, like this, to do this kind of bullshit. I mean, um, anyway, thank you for the follows, Zelont and Noel. Oh, so it's the same Noel. Oh, did you auction your artwork? I should auction my reading, huh? What should I auction myself for? I think I went to one of those things with Yen, one of my moderator. But I don't. But I was like thinking, was like, this is a bit weird. But I don't like, even if I ASMR reading. No, Mia, no, Mia. Fun fact. Maybe not so fun. Just fact. I fucking hate ASMR. No. Nope. I will not take requests. That is something that I have made up my mind, even when I have 10 followers, that I will not take any single request, not even a top tier, not even a top tier donator or sub. I will not take anything. Yeah. So I'm doing it while reading. Is that ASMR? I'm just reading though. Like there's like background sounds and everything. I don't think that's ASMR. I think I don't know. Maybe my thought about ASMR is like you know. I don't know. ASMR to me is like always like those people chewing very disgustingly into their mics, or um, very sexual content like whispering. I fucking hate. Okay, oh my god, you just got me riled up. I hate it. I fucking hate it when people whispers into their mics, like they think that they are so sexy, you know. Yeah, exactly. I really hate it. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate ASMR. I fucking hate all those. Imagine that I'm touching your hair right now. I fucking hate those shit. Seriously, I hate it. It like if I hear those things, I just get so angry, like I am right now. Like it's I mean, I can do a angry ASMR. Maybe. I don't know. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate ASMR. I hate whispering. Okay, that's too like it's very weird. And the touching hair sounds scary. Oh man. Yeah. I have seen people who auction their art service. Yeah, and like for bidders, but they pay in gil, right? Not real money, right? Because that would be illegal. Did you guys know about the billboard memes? It's so funny. Yeah, I don't like. My next book. Okay, I'll give you a genre. My next book is a thriller. That's all. Okay, that's the only clue I give you. You will find out on next Monday. So you have to tune in on next Monday. Ha 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 ha. And then on Monday there's like just one viewer. That's usually what happens. Oh yeah, I used to do rating content, but uh, I used to do rating content, and they, I used to have this thing called the rate phase. Uh, hang on, give me 1 second, and it looks like this. This is my this is my rate phase. I used to rate a lot, but I don't rate that much anymore nowadays. Like I got stuck on P3S and I'm like gave up. Yeah, it's like this is how I look like when I raid. Yeah, the angry face that everyone likes. But unfortunately, I don't rate that much anymore nowadays. I should, but I'm too lazy. I didn't even do my re-clear last week. It's not okay. Okay, bit. It's not about skipping, right? Right. Listen, it's not about skipping. It's about clearing it. I will not touch P4S unless I cleared P3S. That is a goal. That is a goal. Okay? Listen. So yeah. Yes! Yes, Ando, see you in game next Monday. Hell yeah. I'll go to your inn later. Wait, not more. Go to your cafe later. I need to remember where is Thornberry Empyrean somewhere. I need to check out your Twitter that I retweeted that day. I retweeted because I wanted to go. Oh, Spooty! You're stuck there too? Hell yeah! Let's get stuck there together. Let me know. Let me know in like tell me in game if you tell me in game if you want to go for a ride in P3S. Yeah. I didn't even re-clear my P1S and P2S last week because I'm so fucking busy. It's crazy. Oh, that's true. Hell yeah. I'll just teleport to your estate. Yeah. And I'm still thinking if I should buy a medium house somewhere. Uh, so that I have like a different location for Noodibles. All with like different theme. Because this is almost like a, I don't know, what would you call this theme of this room? Like midnight dreams? Something like that. There's one if you guys for Zelont and Noel, if you haven't been to my previous, yeah, I'll see you soon, Neuro. You lost until you give up. Nah, it's okay. We just keep trying until you get one. You'll get it. To Zelont and Noel, if you have not been to my other Noodible location, it's actually the basement of this house. Come follow me. I'll show you guys. So it's like, it looks a bit secluded, but don't worry, it's not a sex dungeon. So you come in, it's a big library, and it's definitely more cozy than the room upstairs, and then also more, it looks like it's more space, but yeah, this is definitely a lot more fancy looking. Yeah. Spooty. Yeah. So I just thought that I'll make a room so that I can like, have two different type of places. This is a bit more like mystical forest. A bit Titania inspired with the walls.
and the flowers and the floras and faunas. Yeah. And the upstairs room is more like dreamy, inspired. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Ah, this is. Oh my god. This is called Blue Fields from Final Fantasy VIII. It's my first Final Fantasy ever. And I love this music so much. And I'm so happy that they included it into the game. You probably haven't heard it because you didn't do the raid series in Shadowbringer, huh? And you just outed yourself. Yeah, it's called Blue Fields, Shadowbringer. I mean, it's from Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII has a lot of good songs. Holy shit! Like um, whenever I go to a distant worlds orchestra. Yeah, exactly. You stuck there. You know, Zealand. You know what I used to do? I would go to Fisherman's Horizon and just sit there, put on my speakers up high, and then read book on my bed because I love Fisherman's Horizon, and I wish that I could have Fisherman's Horizon in this game. I would have that looped non-stop. Oh my god, Fisherman's Horizon and the village. What's the village called? God, Fisherman's Horizon is so good. It's the fucking best. Oh my god. Spooty has seen me go from a Thailander to a Viera to an Elizan. Spooty, how do you feel about that? Which one do you like best? Give me a comment. Yeah, I think Spooty seen me the longest. Yeah, I used to be a Thailander when I first met Spooty. They are all pretty? Aww. Not Shumi Village. The Win Hill, I think. The place where Rain and Eloise. The Thailander proof? One day I shall go back to Thailander. Just wait. Just wait, okay? I'm just having too much fun as a Alazan. And also as an Alazan, it just suits so much as a Noodible, as a reader, don't you think? You know? It's very elegant. They're all good. Oh my god, if the Island Sanctuary is a remix or if it's a Fisherman's Horizon, Jesus Christ, I would cry. Like legit, I would cry and be like, oh, thank you, Square Enix Division 3, Creative Business Unit 3. That would be how I sound like if they make the Island Sanctuary the music of Fisherman's Horizon. Yes, yes. I didn't change my Twitch account, Thailander, uh, Thailander outfit, Thailander, sorry, profile pics until like very recently. Like I was still using my Thailander. Because I was too lazy.
Yeah, they should get its own music because Soken is so good. Soken is so good. Soken? Soken? Yeah. I really enjoy you guys sitting around and chatting with me like this. This is what I really like. You know, after reading a book, even if the book is not good or if the book is really good, I don't care. It's like it's so much fun to be around people. 10. Everyone say I think most people's entrance to Final Fantasy is 10. Because there's no fucking way you won't play 10. But I never played 10. Cause I don't have a console. I don't even have my own PC until I was like 21 years old. So yeah, I don't have that privilege when I was a kid. I didn't play 10. I want to play 10. I would love to play 10 one day, but I think I'm more interested in 12. But yeah, 8 is my first one, and it's really oh my god, it just made me like Fisherman Horizon is like whew. So good. It's so good. Fisherman's Horizon is the best. Like whenever I go to Distant Worlds orchestra, I always like pray really hard to the universe that they will have Fisherman's Horizon in it, and oh my god, yeah. When I get it, yeah, it's so good. Let me look at my last Distant World brochure. They haven't been back for a long time. I'd love to go again. Last time I went with Twisty. Distant Worlds. Wait. No. I didn't go with Twisty. I went with my cousin. Yeah, there's no... Yeah, the last time I went, there's no Fisherman's Horizon. I was quite sad about it, but you know what? It has Balam Garden, which is also great. And they are always very smart. They always start with Liberi Fatali from 8, which is like the opening song for 8. Vitos music. That one. Oh, that's such a great way to start an orchestra with that song in particular. I'm actually looking forward to 16 a lot. I think everyone is looking forward to 16 anyway. But yeah, I hope they'll come out on PC because I'm not a console player. I don't have a console. I don't even have a Switch, Nintendo Switch. Can you imagine? Yeah. And I really like Animal Crossing too. Yeah, PS5 is shit. Like not shit, but it's just terrible. The way you have to like basically source for it is stupid. Basically. Yeah. And if you don't know, I am actually not a scholar main, even though it's close, but I'm actually a summoner main. Just so you know. This is my true self. This is my raid self. This is my raid gear. Okay. That's why the Noodible room upstairs is all Carbuncle's team because I'm a summoner main. So yeah, I am very excited. Like the one thing about it was the summon thing as well. Like I could watch that shit repeat and repeat. I know some people say it's like, oh my god, I don't want to watch this again, but no, fucking Shiva, do your diamond dust. You know, I just fucking love it, man. It's great. So yeah, I would definitely love to play 6 when it comes out if they have PC like right out from the beginning, so I don't have to like wait for like 10 years to get the PC version of it, or worse, have like the junction system is. I know people hate the junction system, but I think the people who hate the junction system are stupid. There you go, I said it. Junction system is so good. Like, you. How can anyone not think the junction system is good? I think it's because they are so attached to the thought that, oh, Final Fantasy game has to revolve around casting magic, which, yeah, get it, sure, but I love the fact that I don't have, like, I can hoard I can hoard the magic spells and not use it. Yes, all the summons looks insane. Ifrit looks so good. My boy Ifrit, you know, I fucking love Ifrit, and yeah, keep drawing. Yeah, exactly. But just hoard all the spells and never use it because you need them to junction, right? It's so good. I don't know, I fucking love the junction system in 8. I could be biased because it's my first FF, but yeah, the summons are so good in 16. Ifrit is so awesome. Ifrit is one of my definitely like I think my favorite is, I mean, even before Final Fantasy 14 and 16 and all that, my favorite has always been Shiva. I have a Shiva figurine on my desk that I bought from Japan. Shiva, number 1 Shiva, number 2 is Ifrit. These two are my favorite. I remember I really loved Quetzalcoatl, the bird electric one. Yeah. But yeah, if I love Ifrit, but you know, I really hated the fact that Ifrit is always like the first starter summon that you get, and then it's like usually the weakest because it's the starter summon. So you don't, by the end of the game, you don't really use Ifrit because it's like not as good as any other the latter summons that you get in the game. But this time around, I love the fact that Ifrit is like the face of 16, kind of, in a sense. I don't know, I fucking love it, man. Leviathan is fine, but I don't know. I remember Leviathan because that's where I learned the name Tsunami. Yeah. You're mixing it up like hell right now. But yeah, it's just fun, man. I don't know. So many good Final Fantasy games. Oops. What are you guys getting for
lunch, huh? I have kimbap. I'm going to have kimbap that I bought from the convenience store one of those days. One of the days last week. I had to buy and hoard kimbap. You skip lunch today? Better make sure that you have a full lunch, bruh. I mean, you better make sure you have a full dinner, bruh. Oh, thank you for the follow on Twitter, Noel. Thank you so much. Well, usually I eat very little. I space out my food a lot. I don't like. It's either I skip and then I eat a lot after that, or I just space out the food. Like eat a little here and there and then stop and then eat a little here and there after that. Sorry, I just had to hold in a burp before I burped it out. Oh my god, the worst fucking. I don't know, I don't like calling myself a VTuber. I just call myself a Twitch streamer. Okay. Even calling myself a streamer sounds so weird. It's like something that I never thought of doing, to be completely honest. It's so weird. It's so weird that I have a place like this to talk to people around the world. Thank you for hanging out with me today, by the way. Until now, even though the reading has stopped since like 1 o'clock. My streamer beginning story, you wanna hear about that? Okay, let's do it. I started this channel because I wanted to get into Savage raiding. And in the beginning, I'm sure if you... I'm a hoarder, so I hoard a lot of videos. But in the beginning, I would stream because I want to record my progress. Basically, record my raid prog, because I don't have that much space in my computer, my old computer, to record. I know that I can record my gameplay without streaming it, but because Twitch is basically like a free library for me, free space for me to upload and also keep my stream progress. So I decided to stream, and last time when I streamed, I don't have a voice, I don't have a microphone, I don't have a face even. So I just stream without microphone or anything. And then slowly I started to stream with my voice. But it would be something like this, right? Because I have a friend called Strider. His channel is Doodle X Pluto. If you check out my main page, that will be like recommended streamer. He hasn't streamed for a while because he's going through some shit in real life, as everyone does. But when he streams, he will stream everyone's voice in the Discord voice channel. So my voice will be featured very prominently in his channel. But when I stream, I don't say any, like I don't have a voice in my own stream. So it's like kind of a weird dynamics. But slowly, as the end, my in-game friend, I was going through some hard time, so as a distraction of some sort, and I used to do Noodibles in a Discord channel, in a previous Discord channel that I was in, but I had to leave because of some stuff it's not anyone's fault, it's my own fault, so I have to leave it. But I used to do Noodibles in there, like private Noodibles in there. I just read while people are working. And then Deanne suggested that I bring it to stream. So to do that, he encouraged, she encouraged me, Deanne encouraged me to make an avatar. So I have a face, and also I already bought a proper microphone, I would say, because I was so constantly featured in Sudo's stream that I got so annoyed hearing myself on his stream because my webcam microphone was pick up so many noises and sounds that I bought myself a cheap proper mic. It's a proper microphone, but it's cheap. It works. That's all that matters. So basically, just have a avatar and link my voice into my stream and start streaming that way. I think a lot of my followers definitely come from the RP community in Final Fantasy 14. I'm not an RPer myself, but yeah, definitely a lot of my followers are from the RP community, and as you can see, there are only 10% of people watching my stream right now. That is from my total followers list. So most of them just follow and then they don't really do it. They don't really continue watching anything. There's just a few of us left, basically, to listen to me read. But I'm very grateful either way, cause hey, even if there's one listener, I still read. That's all it is. So yeah, so I went from trying to record my raid progress to reading to people. I think you should. I think you just need to find a niche, or I think Americans say it another way. A niche. I don't know, niche. I say it niche. Nicha. I think you just need to find a niche that you can stick to. For me, it's Noodible. Most of my viewers come from. I hear on my stream for Noodibles to just listen to me read. I'm trying to do a little bit of variety stuff. Like when I do rating stream, there's usually no viewers at all. Nobody really care about my rating content. That's why I kind of stopped doing rating content. Also, I always feel like I don't want people to see that very. I don't know. It could be funny that I'm like angry during raid, but I also don't want people to think of me like, oh my god, she's so angry all the time, that kind of thing. So I kind of stopped doing raiding content, and I stopped streaming raiding content, and then I slowly stopped doing raiding content as well because there's just not enough people to raid with. Most people just abandon raiding after a while. I haven't abandoned it. It's just that I've been so busy in real life that I just don't have the time to like. That's why I could never have a static to commit myself to. Basically, yeah, that's basically my streamer beginning story. I went from recording my stream prog to becoming a streamer. It's a weird progress, definitely, but it's a very nice place. It makes me start reading again, which is great because I was an avid reader until like maybe a couple years or more ago that I kind of stopped reading. Oh, Zelont, if you are interested in raiding, you know who to find. I actually really love raiding. I'll be honest, I love raiding a lot. It's just that I can't find the time. I suspect I may or may not have ADHD or ADD. I I find it very hard to not multitask 1,000 things at once. So when I'm doing noodles, when I'm reading, that's basically the only time I'm just focusing on reading, and it's very therapeutic and meditative for me. Yeah, I can teach you how to read. It's super cool. It's very fun. Seriously. Beat can join us. Spooty can join us. Anyone. Noel can join us even. Beat. Strudel, my friend, is Australian. He streams just fine. Sometimes it's not. I'm stuck on FOF too, Spooty. Come on. I still don't know how that works. I still need to watch more videos on that shit. Yeah, Beat, you can stream. Strudel is Australian. Anyone can stream. Come on. If you want to get famous, just put your face out there. Or your voice, I guess. I don't know. Fountain of Fire? How many years have you been in a game, Zalon? I used to, another fun fact, I used to be a bard main. Haha! Since beta? Seriously? I didn't even join until like 2014. Oh, okay. No worries. Have a nice day, Ando. Thank you for being here today. Even though you're not here in game, but you're here in spirit. And I appreciate it. Have a nice day. I wish I can wave with my hand with this rig, but I don't have a proper rig. I just use Vroid. So you're not legacy. That's fine. I think I have another friend who also started from ARR beta. I used to know someone from Legacy, and he is super obnoxious. To be honest, I don't even remember his name anymore, but he's super obnoxious. He thinks like he's like always questioning other people and like you know, I don't know. At some point, I was so angry at him because we were trying to clear Heidelin. We're trying to clear Heidelin Extreme for DN, I think, and then like basically a first clear for her, and then we asked this legacy guy. This legacy guy was in like our cross-rolling shell, and then I kind of announced it on the cross-rolling shell, and then he said that, oh, can I join? And I was like very hesitant because I had like bad experience with this guy during raiding. I didn't really want him to join, but another friend was like, oh, give him a chance, maybe he'll be nice this time. And of course I was right, he was being an asshole. The first thing he did was question my another friend, like, oh, what's your main? You know, that kind of thing. And then
Stretch.
thank you. Okay. Questioning my dragoon friend, like, oh, are you comfortable with being a dragoon? And then my friend was like, I mean, his name is basically Van Highwind. So he was like, I'm a dragoon main. And then it was like, so he's like questioning that, and then after that,
So then I asked him, so what job do you want to play? And then he's like, oh, he's like so flex and all that. And it's like he's like, oh, I can mean anything, anything that you need, that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh my god, you don't have to like show off that you are so good in every single fucking job. I just ask you a simple question, just answer me, what are you going to play? And then there was like a bard that joined in the party finder, and then a dancer joined as well. And then as soon as that happened, he said in the crossword link shout, well, I'm staying as a reaper for sure, Lamau, that kind of thing, like kind of like look down on the bard and the dancer. And then after that, I was like kind of like very annoyed, like he kept asking people, oh, did you melt your stuff and all that. Nah, I was like, this is not a pass run, this is a to C run, so you don't really have to be like I don't know, I'm not saying that you can slack on it, because it's the A to C run, but you don't have to be so uptight about it. Yeah, Bard is so much fun. I still play Bard. You see my Bard gear? I still have my Bard. So different. This is my Bard gear. But nowadays I'm more comfortable with dancer. But I think summoner is like my most my main. Oh, Fufuchu! Hey! Oh my god, you need to touch some grass. Yes! Exactly! And then, like, he's like just questioning people, and then, oh, you know what happened after that? Oh my god. He, during the fight, we were like, oh no, it wasn't Heidelin, it was P1S. We were trying to clear P1S for the end, and he was like fucking being very obnoxious about it. And then so I was like saying that, oh, this is not a pass run, this is like just like trying an A to C run and all that. Sorry, I got distracted. And then after that, I said, then he was like, oh, okay, that kind of thing. He's like kind of like resigned and kind of like shut up a bit. And then after that, during the fight, like we had problem with the switching, the D3 and main tank switching phase during the fuck, I haven't done P1S for so long. Intemperance, sorry, the Intemperance one. So the switching thing, we were having so much problem with that and all that, blah blah blah. And then we almost clear, I think like 4% or something. And then after that, I don't know what he said that triggered me that I was like super fucking angry about it. Yeah, the dual one, P1S, yes. And then he was like, I think Van said something like, Van died to something because he was greeting. And then Van said, so sorry, I won't greet again. That kind of thing. Then I said, ha, it's okay, that kind of thing. And then he replied, what? You can greet in this raid? Like, very sarcastically? Like, just because I said that it's not a pass run doesn't mean that you don't have to do your best. You know what I mean? I was so fucking angry. I'm not even kidding. I was like, literally nobody said that. And then another friend was trying to mediate and all that, and after that he just left the group, and then he left the Discord channel as well. he before he left, he was like, sorry, I like, it was just like a simple question, and I got so much like anger, diverted at me and all that. I was like, literally, no one said that you can't greet. Like, I'm just saying that it's not a pass run, because he was so intense. This is a guy who has spent so much time in this game. Like, he's literally on all the time. Like, okay, ever since they removed the auto kick thing, I'm always in game too. I'm always AFK in game as well. But I don't literally play the game 24/7. But this guy, from what I saw at that time, he literally plays the game like 24/7. It's insane. Yeah, Noel, please help me with P3S. I'm stuck. Spooty and I. Zelon said that he wants to try learn how to raid. Yeah, stuff like, it's just stupid. Like, some people take the game too seriously. Whenever anyone take a game too seriously, like to the point that they say things like, oh my god, this game is my home, or anything like that, I just think that these people should really go out and look at the sun and touch some grass, because there's so much more to life than fucking gaming. Limsa AFKs unite. I hate Limsa, sorry. That's a place that I will never step unless I want to go there for ocean fishing. I don't go to Limsa. It's just too degenerate for me. Coming from a degen myself is too much for me even. Yeah, let me show off my ninja outfit. My favorite melee is ninja. Hell yeah. So yeah, it's just yeah, competitive people, I don't know, man. It's just, no, I'm more of a inside the house AFKer. Oh, but there was one time I did AFK at the yard with my samurai. with the sword out and all. It's so stupid. Yeah, there's a lot of competitive people here. And he's not just competitive, he's the type. Oh, you want to see the original? I still have it. Hang on. I will never delete that one. That one's so good. This the yeah. I'll never delete this. This is too perfect. But yeah, they basically, okay. So I joined a static before, and the leader of static basically have no life outside from the game itself. So these kind of people, they think that their achievement in game is their achievement in their life. Yeah, the Hampton top is nice, right? I like the crossback too. They basically think that their life is whatever that they achieve in game. Like that the one static leader that I used to have. Oh my god, Ando, you're still here. The one static leader that I had, he literally have nothing else in his life except for the game. So getting a mount within the first day or two when the mount comes out is like a big achievement for him. So when the whole extreme, the new trial extremes mounts came out,
like I think within like the first 2 days or something, he got the mount and he was just showing it off everywhere. Yeah, yeah. I'm the type who is very hard on myself. I get that's why sometimes I don't really like to stream when I raid because I get very angry at myself, and I don't know if anyone actually had to. I don't know if anyone had to watch me be so hard on myself when I'm raiding. Yeah. I get so angry at myself when I raid, so but sometimes I get angry at like party finder people who are like very incompetent. But most of the time it's just me getting angry at myself. Yeah. So I don't know if anyone is maybe that's why I have like no viewers when I stream when I'm raiding because I'm so angry at myself. Probably. Yeah. I find it so funny that I have 11 viewers even though I finished reading for so long. Who are these lurkers? Come out now. It's all bots. Maybe it's all bots. But yeah. Anyway, I'm starting to get hungry. Lurker Melanger. Mia Melanger. Yes, you are a bot. You are a bot. And then Neuro was here earlier. I always call Neuro the tentacle hentai lover. I don't know where that came from. Do you remember, Mia? When did I start calling him a tentacle hentai lover? I forgot. I have shit memories. Yeah, I'm starting to get hungry now, so I'm gonna stop my stream. But I will be back on. This is a promise, right? To you guys and to myself. I don't know if you guys are free on this Saturday afternoon, but I will be playing Yakuza 6 on this Saturday. I'm gonna stream it, so if you guys are interested in watching me play the Yakuza 6, no mukbang stream. No, I fucking hate. If there's anything that I hate the most is ASMR and mukbang. The original mukbang I understand. You know, sometimes the original mukbang started in Korea because there are people who live alone and they feel like if they're eating with someone else on the screen, I like the idea of that, like, so it like lessen the feeling of loneliness, like, oh, we are enjoying food together, because it's always nice to enjoy food together. The original mukbang one is okay, but the newer version of mukbang where they eat a lot of things and then I 100% can tell you that they purge those things out, or they spit those things out, like in cut screens, or the ASMR mukbang, which is like the combination of two things that I fucking hate. Oh my god, I hate it. Yeah, the passive aggressive ones are the ones that I hate the most. Like I understand wanting not to call out people, but don't say things like, well, somebody's not doing it right, or like just say it, man. Don't be so, I don't know. There's no point. The person who's making the same mistake will not improve unless you tell them that they're doing something wrong. So if you're saying like passive aggressive things like, that we keep failing because someone is, oh, Fupuchu. Okay, you can choose from a page 10 to 128. 10 to 128. Choose a page from 10 to 128. You guys can claim for poems too. I really like poems.
Sorry guys. Lately I picked up a very very bad habit. I picked up vaping, which is terrible. uh Unfortunately, there are people who already try to claim 69, and I remember 69 is an illustrated page, so you can't claim 69. So you have to claim another. You have to claim another page. Yeah, it's. I wouldn't say it's hard to stop. I don't think I have an addictive personality towards anything. 88, good number. What? Yeah, I'm Asian, so just want to make sure that you guys know that I'm Asian. So if I say racist things, I'm Asian. Okay. For Fupuchu, your quote on love is this: by accepting our faults and believing that we still deserve a happy life, we will be opening a window through which love can enter. Because anyone who is happy can only see the world with love, the force that regenerates everything in the universe. I'll repeat it. I usually read it twice. By accepting our faults and believing that we still deserve a happy life, we will be opening a window through which love can enter. Because anyone who is happy can only see the world with love, the force that regenerates everything in the universe. That is your quote on love for Fupuchu. Thank you for your claim. Your point redemption, I mean. Yeah, the H1. That was funny. That was really funny. That's a very good one that you chose, by the way. A very good one. Alrighty, before I go to get food and stuff my face with kimbap, I'm going to read you guys a poem. I'm gonna flip through a page and stop. Let me choose a good one. I think it's a good thing. I should end a stream with a poem every time. What's happening at Anida's Pride? It's an event, right? I don't know if I have time to go. I'm gonna work after lunch. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, I love this one. Okay. Aosia Symphony? Oh, okay. When is it? I'll try to make it.
You can't. Because Twitch has disallowed people to post a link here. However, if you why don't you send me the link on DM in Twitter? That'll be easier. Since you follow me on Twitter already, right? I saw you for your follow. Yeah. Alright, guys, I'm ending my stream right now and get some food and rest and then work. So today I give you this poetry by DJ Wright. Probably he's dead long time ago, because this book is printed in I'm such an asshole. I always say that people die. This book is printed in 1962. I got it from like a second-hand bookstore. It's pretty. I love this shit. Alright, so a poem by D.J. Enright. The title of the poem is Saying No. After so many, in so many places, words, it came to this one. No. Epochs of parakeets, of peacocks, of paradisiac birds. Then one bald owl croaked, no. And now, in this one place, one time, to celebrate, one sound will serve. After the love-laced talk of art, philosophy, and fate, just no. Some virtue here in this speech, stupefied, inane, to keep it short. However, conversed, puffed, and stretched the pain to say no more than no. Virtue, or only decency, it would have been, but no. I dressed that death's head all too plain, too clean, with lots of pretty lengths of saying no. And with that, I shall end the stream for the day. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really enjoyed our conversations together, and I hope to see you guys on this coming Saturday, 2 p.m. GMT +8 for Yakuza 6. And watch me beat up some guys on the streets, like I do in real life. Just kidding. Take care. Goodbye. See you guys.
Stretch.
One last stretch. Alright, see you guys. Goodbye. Thank you for watching and listening to me ramble.